Good evening. My name is Kwabena. Welcome. I want to share with you what I call have life strategy. Have life strategy. The environment that we were born into, the family that we were given, we were born into, the country that we were born into, the culture, the education that they gave us, the things that we were exposed to, they are responsible for the results that we get at a certain point in our lives. Human beings are just direct reflection of the things that they've been exposed to. The way I think, the way I look at life, how I work, my character, the knowledge that I have, the expertise, the way I look at life, they only come from the things that I've been exposed to, the language that I speak, whatever expertise that I have. They only come from what I've been exposed to. So, if what I was exposed to was wrong, my output will be wrong. And sometimes the most dangerous thing is that we may not even know that what we've been exposed to has been wrong. See, so if you were exposed to the wrong things that were not of substance, things that could not get you the results of the hopes that you have, you become frustrated without knowing that, because usually what we all know is that once you've been sent to school, once you can read, you can write, you think that you have what it takes to get what you want in life, to become successful, to achieve something, and yet we've just been programmed by the background that we are coming from, until we get to a point where we see that the program that we have had has not been working, or it's been working. And then if it's not been working, what do you have to do to improve it? What do you have to do to change it? And so if you look around our community, if you look around Africa, if you look at our situation and how relaxed we are, most of us are, and how the so-called privilege in society, how they live only their lives, how they are unconcerned of the masses, of the poverty. It shows the programming that we have had, the programming that they have given us. And so whatever they put in us, we just reflect that. Human beings are just results. The results that we get, we just reflect the trainings, the conditioning, the things that they have put in us. That is what we reflect. It's not so much that we are just it's not whether we are evil or we are good. If you happen to have had good training, when you were not conscious, you just leave that training. It will only change when you start to know that my life is going to change when I start to change things, or my life is going to improve beyond what they have given me when I start to improve it. So I'm talking about life strategy. If you're building a house, if you're building a business, whatever you're building, you may have a plan. You have a plan, but you can only execute the plan when you have a good strategy. The footballers, those who are very much interested in football, the coaches, they always know what strategy to use to beat which opponent. And so if your strategy is weak in this life, then you'll see that your results will be weak. We need strategy because we start life with a lot of limited resources. You probably will not have the money, you probably will not have the expertise, you probably will not have the network, you probably will not have a lot of things going for you. So from that point to where you want to go, you will need some kind of strategy, some kind of plan, some kind of trick, what you may call magic, to get you to where you want to go. And usually, almost all of us, our strategy that we came to meet and which we all copied is the first one is maybe go to school. That's a good strategy that they give us. So the formal education, it's the strategy. And hopefully, if you happen to have one, and you know the courses that they want, you know the things that are important to the society. So that is a common strategy that they give us. It's not a bad strategy, it's good. That if you want to live life, part of the strategy is just go to school. It's good, but that strategy is just general, everybody has it. And another strategy that they give us is find a job. That is also a strategy, which is good. But if you want to live your dreams, if you want to become successful at something with your life, if you want to build anything, own something, if you want to live a fulfilling life, you will need a strategy more than what is common. More than go to school, more than get a job, more than marry. Because that's the common strategy that a lot of people have. And if you look at our situation as Africans, the another strategy that I would probably add is travel. So you look for visa and go to America, or you look for visa and go to England. That's a strategy people have, because every human, I mean in Africa, we want to be successful. We want to have a life that we think is meaningful, is a life that matters. So everybody is trying to look for something. And all these things that we do, they are just coming from the exposure that we were given. So the common exposure, and you can see there's a common thread. Go to school, look for a job, you go and read something from the university, and then maybe if it doesn't fit here, look for visa, go to America and live there. That's a strategy that they give us. And currently the other strategy is maybe become a politician. And the other thing is maybe start a church. So these are the common things, and we are choosing from the same thing. So you can see it's a reflection of the training, of the environment. This is the environment that we have, and our choices are just coming from the kind of things that we are seeing all around. And for me, Africa's situation is so different, that if there were to be a people who should be so much concerned and desperate to create prosperity, to create order, to create a better country, to create better environment, we should be the people who should be so much desperate. But on the other hand, we are the people who are very much relaxed. If you look at some other countries and you see how some young men are desperately looking for technology, innovation, business, entrepreneurship, sales, marketing. They are looking at how to make a mark with their lives. They're not just looking for livelihood. Sometimes they may be pushed because of hardship, but most of them are looking for tools, information, data, knowledge to make something significant out of their lives. And yet they live in countries that they can afford not to do anything, and maybe the government will pay them. And yet you see these guys buying books, reading, going for trainings, going for seminars, starting something on their own, putting their effort, doing something. They are desperate, and yet they are not even living in a poor country. And those of us who live in a country that needs a lot of help, we on the other hand are not desperate for knowledge that will help us to succeed, not only at the personal level, but even at the country level. We are not looking for knowledge to help us to innovate, to help us to have businesses, to help us to create products, services, change systems, change the way we do things. You don't see that desperation. You don't see that energy. You don't see that obsession with our youth, with our people. You don't see that. You see the obsession with other things, because most of us don't have any life strategy. So our obsession, you will know it. Our obsession is with the politics, with the sports, with the entertainment. That is our obsession, and I don't think that is right. I think that is actually suicidal for people like us. Not be so much desperate for knowledge, not be so much desperate for quality, productive knowledge, systems, technology. looking at a way to make something out of our lives. We are not desperate for it. A lot of our people are just relaxed. The best of them just looking for jobs somewhere because of the training, because of the environment that we are coming from, because of the information that we've been given. So a lot of people are bound in this limited thinking. They are not able to break out and compete at the same level as their colleagues in other countries, as our colleagues in China, as our colleagues in America, as our colleagues in Australia, as our colleagues in all of Africa. You don't see that desperation. We just only say it, but you don't really see young men, the percentages being so high, where we are just looking at the better ways to come up with better products and services and change things and take charge of organizations. We don't see that because of the conditioning. But you can break that when you have a life strategy. I can break that when I have a strategy. And for the strategy to work, you should understand the environment that you're coming from. The way the people think, the way you think, what it will require for you to break out of that. Because the relaxation is too much. The unconsciousness is too much. We should be the people where 99% of our people are desperate. Where we are having seminars and symposiums about what to do to create our future. We should be the ones. It should be everywhere. That should be the common, because you can see that almost every sector, the young people must rise up to take charge. And so if you're starting with little, you need a strategy to win in life. And that's what we have as Africans. The systems are not set. The strategies are not set. The government machineries are still being evolved. Are still being set out. And so you will need a strategy to weave through this. Those 4 common strategies that they have given us cannot help us to create the prosperity, to create the solutions that we need beyond ourselves. So just go to school, just find a job. Just if you don't find a job here, just go somewhere and look for a better life in America or England, or maybe become a politician. Those strategies are not going to work for a lot of our people. Not everybody is going to go to school to a higher level, and even going to school, after the school, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What is the resource of you going to school? Is just going to school to get certificate, or going to school to become something? And getting a job. And many people will not get jobs anyway. The so-called nice job, they are not there. Who is creating them? And not many people will get visa to travel to America, which means that there has to be some plan for a lot of people to win with their lives. And we have to look at the situation and know what we can do. So the strategy to win with your personal vision. Do you have a vision for your life? What is that vision about? What do you want to be? What do you want to do with your life? There has to be a vision, a purpose for your life. You can't just go through life and just relax and relax as if everything is okay. No. A lot of things are not okay with our continent. A lot of things are not okay. And it will take humans like yourself, like myself, to change the situation. And we can only change it when we have a plan, when we have a strategy, when we have a vision, when we have a sense of purpose, that there's something that I have to change. There's something that I have to change. And so you would have to have a strategy to get the knowledge that works, the productive knowledge that works. The productive knowledge that works. Not every knowledge is relevant. Not every knowledge. And so they can push us with a lot of knowledge, but when you get to the field, you see that you cannot do anything with it, because that knowledge was just for academic exercise. The productive knowledge is the knowledge that is carved towards the environment and based on the skill that you have, the aspirations that you have. What is it that you want to do? The required knowledge to become successful in that thing is what you seek for. So one of the strategies will be to look for the productive knowledge that fits our situation, that fits your individual situation, and that fits the country's situation. You look at the country and you know that the common knowledge is not going to help you break out. It cannot. You would have to sit down and study yourself and study the country and study the part of the economy that you want to become prominent. Other than that, you just you just move in the environment like that, and you just get to 40, 50, 60, and then is it because you just played the common strategy that we all have. And that strategy, the world has moved beyond that strategy. The strategy of just get to school, get a job, and things like that. Look for better life somewhere. The world has moved beyond that. Now, the strategy that most of the people around the world are using is to create their own lives. Better way of innovating on the present, on the current products, on better ways of improving on services, better ways of doing business, better ways of becoming productive, providing solutions for the country. This is what people are committing all over. Well, this is what people are committing, studying. You see young people buying books, going for seminars, building themselves, changing the traditional way of looking at life. Yet we should, if the others who are developed are doing maybe what should I say? If they are doing 2, we should be doing 20, because we need more solutions. We need more of everything, because we are late. But on the other hand, our youth are cave in just very little strategies to live life. So constant self-development, and self-development is not in the classroom. It's you having a plan to change your life, change the way you look at life, improving, buying books, studying. I think the only way that people go for any knowledge in this country is just when they go to church or when they go to school. Most people don't read books that will help them to look within themselves and extract something that will be significant only with themselves and with how those things apply in our economy or in our country. Most people are just generic. They're general. If you talk of self-development, they don't know it. They consciously don't develop themselves. They don't buy books. It's just full of entertainment. You just follow Chelsea. You just follow, something. So workable knowledge, things that are producing results, you don't. If you challenge that, just call 10 guys, young men, and just ask them things about technology. What can they do to change their situation? Business, entrepreneurship. Even if they work somewhere, management systems that have come up recently, things that they can think to recreate to solve the problems in where they work. Ask them those serious questions and you hear the answers that they will give you. Because they just play the strategy that they were giving us, and those strategies are just things that don't work. Because if those strategies are working, we will not be having so many of the issues that we're having. And so you should have a personal strategy where you go for productive knowledge, where you go for constant self-development, where you go for skill development. You want to sharpen your skill. What is a man on this earth if you're not developing yourself? If I'm not growing in the way things are done every day, what am I? I'm not becoming anything. And so you create the required environment for you and for myself. We create that so that we can become successful. So success or life, that does not just happen to people. It has to be created. It has to be created. And if you look at us as Africans, and then this is very much important to me, the whole world is moving. You can see that they look for knowledge. They are looking for things. They are always looking at what is the better way of doing things? What is the better way of improving things? What is the way to change this problem or to find a solution? They are occupied with that. You can see they're going for seminars. They are looking for like-minded people. They are looking for solutions. They are building products. They are building businesses. They are looking for better procedures, better processes. They are occupied with that. And it doesn't have to be a government involvement. It doesn't have, we don't have to have even government involved in that. Just young 3-4 people ganging up. Somebody organizes a symposium and telling people, come, let's see what we can do to change situations. It's the psyche, and they are creating that force. We gang up to watch Manchester United, and we are the most desperate. We are the most desperate. Why? Because we've been born in an environment that we find it difficult to break outside of that environment. You cannot break outside an environment which is not productive with the knowledge that the environment that gave you. You can only break outside that environment when you have a superior knowledge than what the environment gave us. And we've been talked into just staying in that environment. Because the moment you start to question things, people will talk you out, to stop, to shut up. What do you want to become anything? What makes you think that you're special? What makes you think that what you are saying somebody else needs it? What makes you think that if you build that business it will work? What makes you think that that product that you want to develop is even needed? Why don't you just stay where you are? Or why don't you just go to another country? Somebody will even tell you, hey, in our country, if you become successful, everybody will pull you down. Is that true? Even if it's true, I want to test it. I would rather become successful and let's see if they can pull me down than just believing that, people don't even want to show anything that you're doing because it's the environment, it's the conditioning. And then they will talk you to say, the other things that people will say. So, the best industries now is just people open churches and talking. This is a country that needs help. It's a country that needs desperate help. But we are not aware. And so you are going to break through this if you sit down to have your own life strategy. This is the Africa I was born into. This is the Ghana that I was born into. This is the family that I was born into. This is my strength. This is my weakness. This is the skill that I have. This is the skill that I don't have. This is the money that I have. This is the money that I don't have. This is the advantage that I have. This is the advantage that I don't have. Now, looking at that, then you plan. What do I have to become to get to that level that I want to become? So you have to have your strategy to win with the finances. Or people will talk you into poverty. People will talk you into failure. If you're desperate and you want to succeed, people will cripple you. Why? Because the knowledge is that the little knowledge that we have. We don't go for renewed knowledge. We are not desperate. We don't go for seminars. We are not desperate. We're not buying books to improve ourselves. No, we are not desperate. It's just that we are very much satisfied with the tradition. We are very much comfortable with the little that we have, and we call it our culture. And we cannot create that future that we so want. We're just talking that future. But many people, if you look at what occupies us, what we are busy with, it shows that we don't know that future will never come until we have a strategy to create that future. So for you to win, whether it's in business, whether it's in your career, even to have investment, there has to be some knowledge beyond what they told you, what they gave you in the culture, in the environment, in the family. Because what they have given us, let's face it, we're still dealing with mosquitoes, we're still dealing with government structures that delay forever, we're still dealing with desperate situations. Now, this is the reality. We cannot deny it. We cannot deny this. It is there. But in spite of these difficulties, if you have a plan, you can break through. If you have a plan, you can live beyond this. If you have a life strategy, and that strategy is not to get a visa and go to America and live there, you'll be shocked. If you don't have a plan to succeed with your life, getting to another country will not mean anything. And that strategy is not just to go and get another degree. The first one you have is enough. Let's see how you have worked with it. And the other strategy is not just to go and look for some job somewhere and work. You should have a strategy to how to become successful in your career. It's not just you're just looking for a job. What plan do you have? What trick do you have? What things that have you identified which are specific to yourself? That you know that if I get to this position, these are the things that I'm going to do to become the top in that position. If I set this business, these are the things that I've identified that if I continue to do those, I'll be successful in that. Those are the things that we have to be obsessed with. But as it is now, the people who need this obsession don't even know that they need to be obsessed to create this country to be successful. We don't know. And if you think that we know, look at how we use our time. We use our time. Just look at how you just look at the youth, or just bump into where 10 or 3, not even uneducated, the educated, just bump into where 10 or 3, 4 people are working. They have education, most likely university education, working in it. Go and hear the conversation. It has nothing to do with the creation of our country, with the creation of a better resource, better products. No. It's likely to be about a kufado. It's likely to be about, maybe heaven or something like that. It's likely to be about some school that they want to go. The world has moved beyond this, but Africans, we're still there. The world has moved so much beyond the things that are controlling us. And so if you don't come up with your own life strategy, the difficulties in the environment will cripple you, will kill you, will become more submissive to the difficulties. You will give up because the information that you hear will make you feel like, no, it doesn't worth it to pay any price. And so one of the ways that you can also do is to create an environment, have a strategy to create an environment that will be responsible for the future that you want. Create an environment of like-minded people. If you get 1, 2, 3 people who want to succeed, and these are the environment that you create for a certain stage, you get there. I know people who started business and all their friends were not business people. When they met the difficulties, they gave up. Why? Because the environment was stronger than their convictions. The environment can kill you. Sometimes you can bump into something. You see that, okay, you go in here, they are doing something that you don't like. Maybe 100 people are there. This is something that you don't like. But because they have created an ambience or an environment that is that powerful, sometimes you cannot stand up to talk. Because the environment that they create is more powerful sometimes than your personal conviction. It can break you. That's why you can see a professor who is somewhere, he maybe happens to be in a church, and you see that the guy is trying to put water on them. He may not be able to say that, no, I don't want it. Sometimes you will just say, okay, because he wants to conform. So environment is so critical. If you want to succeed, if you have a life strategy to succeed, have a life strategy that creates that environment, productive environment where you can get results. An environment is created. Let's say if I come to your room, maybe there are tapes that you're listening to on creativity, on innovation, on technology, on how to become best at what you do, on creating the future. If you want to build anything, maybe somebody has done that. Maybe on your phone you're watching things. On YouTube you're reading articles, you're buying books. You create that atmosphere. You live in that atmosphere. That's why you can create that future. The things that you're listening to, the things that you're reading, the things that you're hearing. You create that force. That environment can push you into that future that you want. So it's a strategy. Your strategy to create that environment that can set the future rolling. Your strategy to create that. Your strategy to have that self-development. Your strategy to have that skill improved constantly. Because those are the things that will make us successful. Those are the things. We create that. It's a life strategy. So what I do with my life, I have to make sure that constantly I'm learning. Constantly I'm reading book. I'm watching something. I'm listening to things that have something to do with the kind of life that I want. The profession that I have. Am I constantly getting information on that? Or I just leave it somewhere and then play around and think that the future will be different? No. The strategy is responsible for the future. It's not so much the future. It's what the strategy is. The strategy we have will do the magic for the future. So if the strategy is weak, we are not winning the war. You see, the people who go to war, they have a strategy. They know where to hit the enemy. And so it's not so much about winning the war, it's the strategy. If the strategy is strong, you can win the war. So if you don't have any life strategy at all, and most people will float through life without any strategy to win. Not at all. Anything that they did, it just so happened that they did it. It was never out of conscious effort. So they happened to get a job. It was just, they were just trying jobs and they had one. They happened to marry a girl. They were just trying their girls and they had one. There was not a plan to say that this is the kind of woman I want because of this things that I want to do with my life. Or this is the kind of job that I want because of this that I want to do with my life, because of the skill that I have, where I want to go. No, everything that they have done is they just happen to happen. Now, you cannot win life because life does not happen like that. Life is it's a product of conscious strategy, deliberate plan. Like a finances, same. Our finances is not just going to change because you pay your salary. No, it's going to change when you have a strategy to create a finance that you want. Like investment, same. If you have excess money that you want to invest, what is the strategy? Where do you want to invest it? Are you going to invest it in a business, or in real estate, or are you going to buy some mutual funds? What is it? Do you have a plan for that? Or you just do it? Your friend calls you to say that, okay, this fund is doing well, so let's go and put the money there, and you go. This one is doing well, now you go. No, you just have to have a sheet of paper and plan. This is what the finances that I'm going to have for the next 4 years. This is how I'm going to do it. It's not just somebody just calls you, let's go, I'm going to do law, let's go, and then you follow them. And that's what majority of the people of this world, we do. There's no strategy, there's no plan. So we get up in the morning, we just move around, bath, go to work, come home. Do you have a daily strategy as to what to do to improve your life? When you get up in the morning, what hour do you use to read? What hour do you use to plan this? What hour do you have something like that? Or it just happens every day, you just move around and it happens every day. And the years are made of days, And so it means that you can clear, or you can wipe out 10 years without ever having a strategy for that 10 years. And this is the introduction that they gave us. They didn't tell us that for us to win in life, we need a strategy. We need a plan, conscious plan. Most people, their strategy is God. It's God. Most people, here in our country, a lot of people, and they make you feel like you don't believe in God. They will make you feel like you are not a Christian. They will make you feel like you are an unbeliever. They make you feel like you are carnal if you talk like that. Because everything is Nyamibeye. And this Nyamibeye has not done anything. Because God expects you to have a plan, a strategy that will win. So if you don't have a life strategy, life is not going to change like that. It's the football team on the field who is playing against another team. If they have no strategy, they are not going to win like that. It's about 99% that they will not win. They have to have a strategy. And even as they play, they improve the strategy as the match goes on. The boxer who is in the ring has a strategy. He sees the way the opponent is turning, and he changes the strategy. He stretches it, because as he's going, the strategy improves. So the same is with life. Life does not just happen. They told us we think that life just happens. That life does not just happen. Every time, every turn, there must be a strategy that you have. There must be a strategy that you have for your health, for your finances, for your family, for your business, for your career, for your investment, for how you are going to improve yourself constantly. Everything that has to do with your life, there has to be some bit of strategy, or we are not going to win. You're not going to win, and that's why most people don't win anything anyway, because there was no strategy. Some people even get money, but they had no strategy for investment. They had no solid strategy to formalize their investment. To organize it well, maybe to put it in a company instrument, to register it. Somebody has maybe 50 houses, but they are just scattered. There's no management plan. There's no structure. It's scattered everywhere. Why? Because there's no strategy. They just happen to have money, and they start to build one here, build one here, build one here, and they have no plan. You cannot build wealth if there is no strategy. The same person with 3, 4, 5 houses, if he sits down to get a better strategy, he can, out of that, build millions. So without a conscious plan, which is called strategy, to win, you will not win consciously. It will not be consistent winning. It will not be something that reoccurs. It will just be once a while, then you win. Once a while, then you win. And that's why people start to blame their grandfathers and their grandmother for being rich. No, it's because you didn't have a plan. You didn't have a strategy. So we have lived maybe the first 18, 20 years of our lives. If you didn't have strategy, we can blame us so much because maybe, your parents were responsible for your life, your grandfather, your mother, somebody else. If you didn't have any money or you didn't have anybody at all, then maybe you were responsible for your life. But until it occurs to you that I'm not going to win in any aspect of my life until I have a strategy to get there, you will not get there. I will not get there. And so if I'm doing business, I must have a strategy to win in this business. If I want a financial freedom, I must have a plan to win. If I want to be healthy, I must have a strategy. What kind of food would I eat? What time do I eat it? Do I rest? Do I improve my knowledge on health? That's it. If I want to write that exam and win and qualify and pass, I must have a strategy to study the books. What time do I have to have for the book? How many books do I study? Who should teach me? Who should guide me? If you don't have that and it just happens to happen, you will not pass. You will not win. The chances will be very slim because there was no strategy. You don't just get up to say that I'm going anywhere. There has to be a plan. And some people may have plan, but they don't have the strategy for their lives. And that's what things do. If you don't have a strategy for the marriage to work, it won't work. For the friendship to work, it won't work. There has to be a strategy. There has to be a plan. There has to be something that you're doing which is unique with you that is going to make that thing work. So the business, to win the business, you must have a strategy to utilize the limited resources that you have. The limited resources that I have. If I have 1,000 cedis and I want to grow the business, I must have a plan. I must have a strategy. I must know how much I'm going to put here. I must know how much I'm going to put here. I must know how much I'm going to put here. If somebody has 10 million and is spending, I cannot have the same plan as somebody who has 10 million when I have 1 million. No, or I have 1,000. No, we don't have the same kind of resources. And so based on your resources, that's what you plan. The fact that your resources are little or unlimited, state does not mean that you can hit the mark. You just have to sit down and look at the situation well. And so if you have to eat wachi every day for the business to work, you are going to do that. If you have to buy gari for the marriage to work, you are going to do that because that's the resources that you have. Until you're able to create a better way of multiplying the resources or making sure that the available resources are increasing, you just have to have a plan to use what you have to get to where you want to go. So it's the same with life. If you were born in a family that there was nobody to help you, it does not mean that you can't win in life. No, it just means that you have to have a situation or a strategy that suits your situation. Then you work from there. So if somebody else is maybe you are in a secondary school, you had nobody to take care of you, you finish, you struggle. And now if your friends are going to university straight away because they have parents, fathers, somebody to help them, you may not have to have that kind of strategy. You may want to work for maybe 3-4 years, accumulate some money, and then you get back to school. After all, it's all the same school. Your friend may just rush and finish at 23, and you may want to start your school at 23. Why? Because you didn't have that. They had resources that you didn't have. But it's the same thing. You want to go to school. The only thing is that you may have to be patient a little because you don't have much now. Does that mean that you're late? No. It only means that you just have to develop something to suit your situation. And that people are not much thoughtful of that. So if I have limited resources, somebody has more than me, we are not going to compete on that level. I compete on what I have. I have to plan my life based on what I have to get the results that, and the lack of it should not prevent me from getting to where I want to go. I just have to look at the situation well and weave something out. So the same with life. The same with life. If I want to create 1 million and I have 10,000, and somebody else has 500,000. We don't have to use the same approach because he has better resources than I have. So then I just have to have a plan. So okay, maybe the next 5 years, this is what I'm going to do to make sure that the money gets to $1 million. If I have a bad situation, if my business is not doing well, if I'm in debt, my strategy is different from the guy who's not in debt. Now my strategy will be, how do I fight back this debt to get back in business? So you should have strategy for every aspect of our lives, or life will just happen to us. And the good thing about strategy is that almost all the time, the results that we get far exceed the strategy that we have or we had, because the strategy sets the base for the growth. And so if you are 20, if you're 30, whatever age that you are, the next 20, 30, 40 years, they are not going to be different until you have a strategy, life strategy, and everything that has to do with your life. And one of the best is that the world now, you see that a lot of young people, and that's one of the advantages of the internet that we think will help us, where if you don't have like-minded people in your community who are physical to you, there are a lot of like-minded people on the internet that you can join, you can connect on Facebook, on YouTube, on WhatsApp, all around the world. Anybody at all can teach you now. You can get information. Don't let the limited information that they gave us cripple you and your future. You just have to break out of that. So commit to something. What is it that you want to build? You want to build a professional life, you want to build a business, you want to build a product, you want to build a procedure. What is it that you want to build? Have a strategy to do that. And we have no excuse. We have no excuse. It's not the responsibility of a government to build your life strategy for you. It's not the responsibility of your parents to build your life strategy for you. It's your responsibility. It's my responsibility. You may even be doing it unconsciously, but now you want to make sure that you write it. Have a plan. Have a plan for the business. Have a plan for the marriage. Have a plan for your relationship, for your friends. Have a strategy for the money that comes to you. Have a strategy for everything that you do. How many books are you going to read? Do you write them down? To say that, okay, every month I'm going to read maybe one book. Or every day I'm going to watch one video on finance, on business, on innovation, on technology, on building something. That is more important to me. Am I going to read an article in the newspaper? What is it? Do you have a plan? Do you have a strategy to develop yourself, to develop your mind? Or anything just happens? How many times do you go to the bookshop to look through the books to build your life, to build yourself? Do you have to take another language? Do you have to take another course? Do you have to take another program to get better skill? What strategy do you have to do that? You want to read 10 books every month. Have you separated them? How many hours do you have to do every day? Is it 1 hour? Is it 2 hours? You want to watch training videos every day. How many hours do you want to watch them? So there has to be a plan. Don't just let things happen like that. You want to save money. How much do you want to save every day or every week? To get where? And when you get that money, where are you going to push that money to? You want to build a successful marriage. What is the plan? What is your strategy? It will not just happen. It will not just happen. Forget. You want to build a successful marriage? It will not just happen. You want to be on the same page with that woman? It will not just happen. You can't pray for it to happen. There has to be a plan. There has to be a strategy. Maybe you have to spend 2 hours every day together. Maybe every week we have to spend 2 weeks, 2 hours together. We have to read maybe the same book. We have to talk about this. We have to talk about that. Study her. She studies you. There has to be a plan. There has to be a strategy. It's not just going to happen. No. They told us that it will happen like that. It's not going to happen. It is built. Anything that is built out of a strategy, out of a plan. Anything that is succeeding, it doesn't just happen. That's why they said, oh, the continent will develop. Until we have a plan, we have a strategy to develop the continent, it's not going to develop. Never believe it. It's not God who is going to develop it. It is us. So if you have strategy, you will win. If you don't have strategy, then we will go and come. You will go and run and come. You will go and come. You will just move around it. You will not hit it and give up. You will not, because that is how it is. Life requires strategy. Life requires strategy. So whatever we want to succeed in, it requires strategy. And if we don't have the strategy, we will not have the winners like that. They will tell you that you will win, or we will not win until you have a strategy in place. If you don't have a strategy how to use your time, how to use your money, how to build anything that you build, how to build a business. What business are you building? You think that you can even just be successful in any business? No. There are some businesses that if you study, maybe you are successful in one business. Maybe if you go to another business, you fail. So you just have to have a plan. Life requires a plan. Life requires a plan. Successful life requires a strategy. A strategy that is unique with yourself, that is unique to you, and that is unique to me. Or we are not going to win. So until we have a plan, we have a strategy, we are not winning. We are not winning. We're not winning. The magic is in the strategy. The magic is in the strategy. So my name is Kwabena. I talked about have a life strategy. Have a life strategy. Every aspect of our life requires a strategy, or we will not win. So strategy is needed. If you have limited funds, limited resources to get the job done, it's always needed. And if you're starting with little, you need a strategy to win, and life requires a strategy to win. Strategy to win with our family life, strategy to win with what our life is about, our purpose, strategy to win with our finances, strategy to win with our businesses, our careers, our investment. There has to be some plan, a strategy. And nobody can carve out that strategy for you. You just have to know that I need a strategy. Then you start to school yourself in that and do the one that suits you. Strategy to get more and quality productive knowledge, because we can only do what we know. We can only go as far as our knowledge will take us. There will never be a change until there is a change in knowledge. There is never going to be a progress until there is an improved knowledge. You can never change people until help them to get better knowledge. And so the strategy to continuously improve your knowledge will change the narratives. And constant self-development, wanting to become better all the time, exposing yourself to quality people, exposing yourself to productive people. You cannot expose yourself to people who are not going everywhere. You are hanging out with people who are not going everywhere all their lives, and you expect that you get some results with your life. It's not going to happen. Make sure that you create that environment. And it's a strategy to create that environment that is productive, that is supportive to the future that you want. If you want to build a successful business, you cannot roll with people who are looking for 1,000 a month and be happy. You want to build a business, get close to people who are building businesses. You want to build products, get to quality people, people of substance, people who want to go somewhere, people who have done it. That's why you get inspired. Constant skill development. If you see somebody who is very good with business management, with this, you get close to them. Sometimes you can even just watch their video, you get inspired. And so we are people who would need that conscious strategy. Many of our people need that to change the situations. So create the right environment, and always remember, the growth is in the strategy. The change is in the strategy. The improvement is in the strategy. The success is in the strategy. And we are responsible for that. So life requires a strategy. You just have to have one. What is it that you want to be known in? You want to become a politician? You want to become a lawyer? You want to become a business person? What is it that you want to become? What profession do you want to be known for? Have a strategy for that and become successful in that. But there's always a plan for the success in terms of the finances, and they are different from the professional success. There should be a success plan for the marriage or the relationship. The success of it is entirely different from the success in the finances or the success in the career. Everyone that you refuse to have a strategy, you will see the failure. You will fail in that. So life just does not just happen. You can just be 2 years, 3 years, 20 years. I say, the last time I was 15 years and today I am 20 years. And now you're 40 years. And you may not have been there consciously because you did not have a strategy to become successful at anything. Whether it's the finance, whether it's the family, whether it's the business, whether it's the career, you didn't have a strategy. You just happened to be there. So they started to promote you and you didn't even know. You did not know what to do to become top manager in where you work. You didn't have a strategy. You just look at things. So you were coming to meetings anyhow. You just come to work anyhow. There was no conscious plan. No, you succeed. Success that you can replicate. Success that you can reproduce. They come out of a strategy, conscious plan. Our life will just happen, and then we'll be just average. Because for most people in our country, in our continent, the only strategy that we have, they are what? Go to school, get married, get a good job, and if you don't get any of them here, go and look for visa and travel. And if all those don't happen, go and follow a political party. Or start a church. Where that we need critical help, industry, productivity, product, businesses, systems improvement, procedures that we have to improve. Those character improvement, self-development, people getting the right knowledge, enlightenment. Those are the critical things that are needed in our country, in our environment, in our continent. Those we have no strategy for. We have no. That's why people think that is difficult. It's not difficult if you have a strategy. If you have a strategy and you're adaptable, life anywhere is not difficult. And you're not going to succeed anywhere if you don't have any strategy. Don't you know your friends who run away? Ask them if they have won. They're still finding it tough. Why? Because they have not sat down to have a strategy for their lives. So anything at all, anybody says anything at all, they follow them. Anybody says anything at all, they follow them. Today they are doing this, tomorrow somebody comes and says, oh, let's go, this one is working, and they to follow. No, I have a strategy. This is what I want to do with my life for the next 2, 3, 4 years. And so I'm going to stay with it. This is how I'm going to get the money. This is how I'm staying with it. This is how I'm going to build the investment. This is how I'm staying with it. This is how I'm building the family. This is how I'm raising the children. This is how I'm building the country. This is how I'm building the business. There is a plan for that. There's a strategy. I'm doing this. And I've researched the strategy. Let's see how it works. This is how I'm going to get better. If last year your knowledge was this level, this year, what is the strategy to improve your knowledge? You cannot think the same way. I'm not even thinking as I was thinking last 2 weeks. I'm constantly looking for new knowledge, new revelation, new way of doing things, new way of looking at life. Constantly. And that one is not from the classroom. That one is from books. It's from videos. I'm watching teachers. I'm studying constantly to become better. So I'm improving my knowledge in what I do. Okay, so I'm into business, into entrepreneurship. I'm studying the finances. I'm studying the management. I'm studying the systems. I'm studying everything constantly. Where that I got losses, where that they beat me, where that somebody cheated me, where somebody ran away with my money, where somebody disagreed with me. Constantly looking at that. If I employ that person and that person is bad today, when I'm going to do another employment, what is it that I have to look at? Those are the things that I'm looking for. If I'm developing a product, that product did not go as expected. If I have to develop another one, what is it I'm going to get input in? That project did not go as I expected. If I have another project, how am I going to handle it? Who am I going to put in charge of the project? What kind of engineer I'm going to look for? What kind of manager I'm going to look for? If that employee run away in the middle of the project, and the next time that I'm looking for an employee to handle something, how am I going to? What is it that has changed? So there's constant thinking, constant planning, constant improvement to better things. And if you're thinking like that, you have no time to follow a lot of the things that people are following. People have a lot of time to follow all the things that the young people are following because they have no plan to get ahead. They have no strategy. They have no life strategy. to get improved. So their only strategy is to go and bet on the football, bet on the internet, bet on something, lotto, and think that it will work. No, the best strategy is the one that you can replicate, which is within your control, the one that you have become. Because the strategy, the benefit of the strategy is that when you are within the strategy, you are becoming skilled, you're becoming developed, you're becoming expanded and large. And so every stage that you are, you carry that. So it's a skill improvement pattern, you know. So life gets easier when you have a strategy, when you are skilled. When we started what we started, we were not skilled, you know, but we had a plan. We stayed. Some of them didn't work. We stayed with it. We stayed. That's why we didn't just jump into go and do another thing. We didn't just go and start a mining company, even though we thought of it. We didn't just go and just do anything at all, because at least we saw that, okay, this is what we are passionate about. This is what we can do and do it well. So we stayed with it. Even if it got difficulty, even if it got to a point where you felt like just stopping everything, the strategy will guide you, because you saw that you're improving, you know, and you become that much focused and you become that much committed. So without any strategy, you don't even focus on anything. You don't become committed to anything. And that's why you don't get consistent progress. And when you are hit with difficulty, you will give up because there was no strategy to win. So when the enemy comes up stronger than what you expected, you try to run away because there was no strategy in the first place. And so life is like that. Life is full of difficulties. Life is full of troubles. People will disappoint you. Your money will be lost. People will give up on you. People will lie on you. That's life. But if you have a strategy, you can contain all those and still keep going. So have a strategy to win. It's life, and it's beautiful when you have a strategy. No matter what happens, so far as you are still alive, you can rejuvenate. You can restart. You can still get to. And when you restart, you are restarting because you had strategy that did not work. Now you are a better person. So you better get that much obsessed, that much focus on having a life strategy. Get a plan to know. Let people know what you want to be known for, and anything that is about your life that you want to win in, have a plan for that. It's not just going to happen. That's what they should tell us. It's not going to happen, and it's not this one is your responsibility. It's my responsibility to make sure that the finances work. We have to have a strategy. Our personal finances, the business finances, the marriage, the business, the career, the investment, everything that has to do with our life. Even our country, what is our strategy to play our part in our country and its development? What strategy do you have to help people? Do you have a plan to be a person of substance, a person of character, a person of integrity? Somebody who gives in the hours, who can work well, somebody who is honest, somebody who people can depend on. It cannot just happen. There has to be a time that you decide to say that this is the kind of person I want to become. I want to be honest in my dealings. I want to treat people fairly. I want to be trustworthy. If I deal with people, no matter the difficulties, I want them to understand that I am not a bad person. I'm a good person. I want to be committed to my words. That it will call for a strategy, go for a plan. Of course, it will call for conscious decision making for you to become that. You don't just happen to say that I'm honest. No. So if they come, okay, thank you. Say 30 minutes each will be more effective. I thank you very much. I will try. Okay, thank you. So I will try to keep it. Thank you very much. And so have a strategy. The strength, the magic is in the strategy. You are going to win in this life. I'm going to win in this life by the strategy. It's not because of the difficulties of my family background. No. Whether my father had money or not, it doesn't matter. Whether my parents had money or not, it don't matter. If I get to commit to a strategy that works, nobody can beat me. No matter the difficulties that you meet, if you understand these things, keep going, and life will become sweet. And so, thank you very much for watching, and let's talk another time. Someone, thank you for watching. Thank you, Aram. Thank you.